I moved back with my parents recently. It was my girlfriend's idea because she didn't like me anymore. And she owned the flat, so it was a tricky negotiation. If you live with your parents, don't be ashamed of it. Don't do what I do. Don't call it living with your parents anymore. Call it living in your origin home. That sounds sexy, doesn't it? Sounds like I'm getting in touch with my cultural roots in Buckinghamshire for another 4 to 5 years at most. That's right, Speen in Buckinghamshire. Anyone heard of Speen? I don't do many gigs that far. This is one of the localist gigs I could find. And Speen is a village that's near High Wycombe, about 20 minutes drive away. But if you want to go to High Wycombe in the rest of the, if you can't drive, you can get a bus on Tuesdays or Fridays at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. This was not conducive to the social life and needs of a teenager. There was very little demand amongst my friends when I was 16 years old to meet up for a coffee morning on 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, and then camp for 3 nights in the park, and then go home at 1 p.m. on the Friday. It wasn't ideal. Living at parents, like I said, I'm single again. Who's single gives a cheer? Who's on the dating apps gives a cheer? That's less cheers on that one. There's no others. But the thing is, the dating apps are all going well, but there's a much better one called Pokemon Go. Honestly, it's so much better than Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, all of them. Pokemon Go, like on Pokemon Go, like if our only way of forming relationships these days is to walk around cities endlessly swiping to hope for love from digital entities that never really love you back, it may as well be on Pokemon Go, because on Pokemon Go, if you throw your balls at them, it's not a hate crime, it's part of the gameplay, you're trying to catch them all. On Pokemon Go, if you go back to the bushes outside the church the next day, your girlfriend doesn't call the police and say he's stalking. You say, no, it's a raid battle, Mega Charizard's available, come on! If you, some of those went, that's so funny, thank you. that is the objective. On Pokemon Go, also, if you catch them all, you get a little medal from Nintendo. If you catch them all on Tinder, you do have to go to an STD clinic for quite some time afterwards. Especially, maybe not so much on Bumble, but definitely on Hinge again these days. It's a minefield. Health is important. Who here's been to a doctor recently? Give me a cheer. Be proud of yourselves. You got to check on your health, gang. I went for a health check. It's all going well, but a couple of years ago I had a bit of a health scare. I had to go for what's called a Sigmoidoscopy. So you know what they had a Sigmoidoscopy? Oh, some curious faces amongst you this evening. A Sigmoidoscopy, for those of you who don't know, is where they shove a camera up your arse, right? I had to go to have one because I was wiping my arse after using the loo, because as you're meant to do. I'd been to the toilet many times before, very successfully, and I did a procedure, and I was finding red on the tissue, and after a few months I sort of cut red peppers out of my diet, and so I'd done the science, and it was still happening. So I went to my GP and said to her, I don't know what's going on, I just keep finding red, it's embarrassing. And she was like, don't worry, I'll refer you upstairs. And I got referred upstairs. A lovely Australian fella called Jacob said to me, no worries, Mr. Wengler, get on the bed, open up, I'll pop in and have a look around. Pop in and have a look around! The NHS see all orifices on the body's little shops they can go in and just get a few bits while they're there. He was in there for quite a while. Like, longer than I knew was necessary. Like, I was like, are you going to be long in there? My arse isn't the TARDIS, it's not bigger on the inside, what's going on? He said, nothing to worry, Mr. Wengler, but just for safety, you're going to be referred to a sigmoidoscopy. So I got referred downstairs and I had to have an enema first. You know what I had an enema before? Oh, that's some recognition. Lady at the front nearly rose her hand, then was too scared to admit it. For those of you who haven't done it, but the enema is sort of a preemptive part of the procedure where they shove a very aggressive jelly up you for some time while you're in your NHS gown for the first time in your life. That's a new experience, wearing clothes where the arse is open. I've never done that by choice before. They shove a jelly up you and then you poo 115%. For quite some time, like, I was on that toilet for longer than I ever spent, and after a while, I was sort of screaming about the way things were dropping out of me I didn't know were there. I sort of said, can I have my phone back? I could have done some Pokemon raids by now, honestly. I might find love while I'm in here, and Anyway, I get taken on. I'm now on the bed. I'm on the NHS tray bed thing. I'm on the conveyor belt. I'm going through to the theatre. I'm surrounded with Dr. Michael Armit and 4 interns because that's the amount of that's what we need for this situation. I'm prepared to operate the camera. I'm half expecting a drone at this point, and then he says to me, Elliot Wengler do this all the time, you'll be in and out of this, we'll be in and out in a jiffy. I love the casualness of it. And then he says to me, firstly, Miss Wengler, would you like to watch? I'm sorry, I have the front row sold out. Are there any seats of restricted view left? What are you talking about? He said, no, you can watch a live stream of the camera as we go inside and have a look around. You know, we all did some weird streaming in lockdown. Some of us even bought Mubi, but none of us have ever watched a live stream of the inside of our own arsehole. Like my personality's not that bad, and I was just thinking at this point that I was worried that I know the NHS is strapped for cash, but I was really worried that on the way out there was going to be like a Thorpe Park style kiosk with like mugs and keychains and the like selling a picture of your own arse back to you. That's the future. Can't be having that. He then says to me, now, do you want the sedation? Now, I didn't go for the sedation because I didn't want to miss the Dulwich Badminton Association Christmas party that night because that's the only Christmas party I had. Don't go on me, it was a good night, eventually, once I got over the drugs, but I didn't go for the sedation. And the thing is, you do have to go for the sedation if they ever do this, because what I haven't told you yet is it was a flexible sigmoidoscopy, which means, in his words, the camera can get anywhere we want it to, Mr. Wengler. The camera was in me for quite a while. I was screaming out in pain because he had asked me one last question. Said, any requests? Oh, are you going to do some ink while you're down there? What are you going to do? What, some drawings? What? No, for the music. Whatever music keeps you steady and consistent is my request. I can no longer enjoy Mariah Carey is all I want for Christmas this year. Because as Mariah was reaching the crescendo of all I want for Christmas, at that point, you know when you've got like a Henry Hoover or a plug, like a little circular extension thing, and you've got the little button that goes and the whole thing comes back in. At that point, I was screaming. They had reached the climax of my arsehole. Michael Armit slaps my left buttock like Gladiator conquering me and says, "It's not cancer, yeah!" Slaps my arse, and then they press the shrink button, out comes the camera, out comes David Attenborough, out comes the whole fucking film crew, and I'm sat there screaming, pooing even more than I've ever done in my life, and all while getting some of the best news possible. So if you ever do this operation, take the sedation, that's the advice there. I don't want you to think I'm an unhinged person, though. Don't do get yourselves checked, lads. Any fans of video games in? I've mentioned Pokemon. Any video game players? No, not tonight. Well, I'm going to convert a few of you because there's a particular genre out there that just strike me as incredible, right? Have you guys heard of the simulation game? So it's not like your Call of Duty or you press R to kill everything. A simulation game like a flight simulator, you'll press like every button in the aircraft correctly to go from Gatwick to Paris in the exact time, right? It's like the documentary of the video game world, if you will. And some of these games, I just can't believe they exist. Like, are there any fans of European? No, not in Witney tonight. Are there any fans of trucks in? No, usually, folks, somewhere out there. I'm going to find the target market for Euro Truck Simulator 2. not Euro Truck Simulator, number 2, the sequel, The Empire Strikes Back, if you will. These games are so realistic. The day after the referendum, they took the British maps out of the game, guys. That's like what we're dealing with here. You're thinking that's just a weird example like my station. Does anyone here like fictionalized traffic? You're laughing, but out there someone is playing Roadwork Simulator. It's the only way you can now see a fixed pothole in this country if you go on this game. Any builders in tonight? Mechanics? Engineers? They used to come down pubs, gigs and bars and get with them, find out what the next job was going to be, get the next train. But they're not here. They're at home playing Construction Simulator 2015. My dad used to play this game until some Polish players got on the same server as him. Any skiing fans in Witney? No skiing fans. That's a shame because they haven't even done that for you. What they have done is Ski Region Simulator, the process of pushing fictional snow around the Alps. The servers crash all the time for this online. Any fans of trains in? I want to try Train Simulator. Well, you can't, but you can do Replacement Bus Simulator 2021 edition. There is, of course, the most important one to play, which is, of course, Institutionalized Racism Simulator. You can work for the Home Office or try and bring it down from the inside. It's very exciting. Folks, you've been a lot of fun. Before I head over, thank you so much for having us. Before I go, I'll just let you thanks for coming out to see gigs and live festivals and gigs and keep us supporting the circuit and everything, because it's at these things where you'll see the best things you've ever seen in your life. I was at a festival a few years ago doing this, and I saw Craig Charles doing a DJ set. Has anyone heard of Craig Charles? They all know where the story's going. They've seen it before. I saw Craig Charles, and he was the drunkest I've ever seen anyone in my life, right? For those of you not familiar, Craig Charles, Red Dwarf, Robot Wars, Crack Cocaine, Radio 6 Music, allegedly. He's on Radio 2. He's back on 6 Music, that's not the point. I saw Craig, he was the drunkest I've seen anyone in my life. Drunker than everyone in this room put together. So drunk, at any one of the songs he was playing, he fell over and broke the sound system. This is 3 a.m, middle of the festival, middle of a gig, and we all thought the gig was over, so started wandering back out again, thinking it was over, right? But then he got it plugged back in and went, "Where do you think you're going?" So now they were hostages to Mr. Charles. I went back in the faux arena in the middle of the woods, and he recovered the gig with the finest piece of public speaking I've ever seen. He got back up and just went, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you like that last song, you'll love this next one." And he played the exact same track that he had just played again.